The Minnesota Wild are still sputtering, but the engine is at least turning over. Kind of. We talk ups and downs of this past week, plus check in with Sammy Walker, who is patiently waiting for that call in a coach's office for a reassignment to St. Paul. As always, we're created by New Voice Studios, presented by SotaStick, brought to you by Talk North, Greenbelt, Jim Beam, and Royal Credit Union. This is Season 4, Episode 164. Celebrate your favorite Minnesota sports teams and moments with SotaStick.com. Relive the Met Center chairs, the Metrodome push, and so much more with unique and quality garb found only at SotaStick. Don't forget to add code Bardown Beauties at checkout for 15% off all of your purchases. At Jim Beam, they know the importance of tradition, like chanting, "Let's play hockey" prior to the start of each game, or playing the state of hockey anthem after a Wild win. This season, raise one to your fan family with a bourbon that invites us all to come as friends and leave as family. Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey, the official bourbon whiskey partner of the Minnesota Wild and XL Energy Center. Drink smart. Jim Beam Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2021. James B. Beam Distilling Company, Incorporated, Claremont, Kentucky. Hello, everybody. What's going on? Bardown Beauties, episode 164. I'm bringing the energy despite literally having none because the Wild have been killing us slowly, not softly. Shout out to a great song. With game after game after game. They do, however, improve to 3-2-1 in this homestand with one more game to go here as we are recording this on a Sunday. I'm Jessi Pierce, writer for NHL.com. She's Kirsten Krull, the face of your in-arena game. Kirsten, this homestand, you surviving? How are you surviving, first of all?
I feel a little dead inside. 4 games this week now. And yeah, I'm tired. And there's another game on Tuesday. So we're not done. We're almost through the thick of the homestand, but no, it is still ongoing. It feels never ending. And not to mention a handful of shootout games on this homestand as well. So extra hockey.
Yeah, no, I love writing multiple stories at the same time. Other almost exciting news, Minnesota Wild acquire number 1 center Ryan O'Reilly from the St. Louis Blues, Fred's St. Louis Blues, mind you, and then promptly trade him 12 seconds later as part of a 3-way trade with the Blues and Toronto. Basically, how I can best explain it, it was a lot going on. Minnesota jumps in and is basically a conduit between St. Louis and Toronto to get this done. They take on 25% of Ryan O'Reilly's contract and get rid of Josh Pillar, who was a prospect down in Iowa. In exchange, they get a future pick, 2025, 4th round, which people are probably like, what is this? This makes no sense. This is stupid. I hate it. Blah, blah, blah. It's $74,000, which to you and me, a lot of money, but to the Minnesota Wild, not a lot. I mean, it's really nothing. It means nothing to me, but I was very excited in the press box, Fred and Kirsten, because I thought that maybe they legit got Ryan O'Reilly, but my mind was like, you gave away probably everything that they have in order to acquire such a large pick. And I know I texted you guys my inside deets that was going down. Were you guys excited? Did you believe me at first?
I believed you, but I wasn't happy about it because, for one, I don't think this is the season for the Wild to get a rental. So Wild fans can be mad at me for saying that. I just think it would be a waste this season, quite honestly. I've been less than impressed. I'm going to keep it real. I love the idea of continuing to plan for the future because this team, as of late, fighting for a playoff spot has not shown me that they really want to make the playoffs. But Ryan O'Reilly, the best center we have had for about the 12 seconds that he was here.
What was your favorite memory of him?
Oh man, there's so many.
Right?
Fred, I'm gonna get you a Minnesota Wild O'Reilly shirt just to
I would love
wear.
that, to be honest with you.
I think,
would love it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for the memes.
Thanks for the memes, Ryan O'Reilly. Hands down, like one of the best centers. Truly, like great face off. But he's getting old too. Like I kind of feel like that's a haul that St. Louis gets back, and St. Louis obviously kind of dead in the water. They're pretty much done, so I'm sure you'll see more names getting on their way out. I agree with you. Let's talk about that trading. I don't want Bill Guerin to do anything anymore. Like I'm kind of just meh, like this team isn't, to me, a contender anyway. I don't see what the point is in getting rid of anything of value. Now, yes, you look at Matt Dumba and, maybe like a Jordan Greenway, who I don't think will be with the team come next season regardless. Greenway does still have a couple years on his contract. Dumba obviously can walk into free agency. So, I mean, if you get something back, that's fine, but I don't see Bill Guerin needing to move any pieces, not even just for a rental, even for a long term, just because what's the point? Well, you don't have to do it this year right now come deadline.
For sure. And also, too, I mean, when you have, I'm going to throw people under the bus here, John Merrill, Alex Goligoski out there lately, not impressed. There's a lot that they need to work on, not just those two.
Do you think?
So getting a rental player is just a waste. I want that. I agree with you. I don't want Billy G to do anything unless he's planning for the future.
Do you think you could play better defense than Goligoski or John Merrill has been playing?
I can't skate, therefore I'd make a great brick wall. I could just keep blocking shots just left and right. I mean, so potentially, yes. I'll camp in front of the net. I won't feel bad about it.
I mean, they're as much of a pylon or a cone out there as you
are. Net? Like that literally just means you can't move. It's not even a choice.
But she wouldn't be able to move anyway.
Probably not. But I'll be that team player that just blocks shots. I'll do it.
So let me ask this real fast. Like, why don't we just blow it up? Why don't we get the picks for the people? Like at least make some of these people are going to be gone at the end of the year worth it and get some picks back, right? I mean, at this point, you're barely in there, right?
No, that's dumb. I'm not even gonna no.
But okay,
now I know what your husband feels like.
Don't blow it up. Because
speaking of blowing it up, though, like shout out to St. Louis for doing what they're doing. As much as they're a rival and you like to see them struggling right now. Like we love that, but they're preparing for the future, which is scary with the Wild's history with St. Louis. Now Nashville needs to accept the same fate. Like they're not making the playoffs this year. They need to do a full on rebuild as well at this point, pretty much just do what St. Louis is doing, accept their fate.
But the Wild just love making the playoffs and love hanging their hat on making the playoffs. And they do that with this team. And the reason you're not going to get anything back, for Dumba Greenway, because nobody wants them. Nobody's going to want to take on the contract of Dumba for what his play is not worth it. So nobody's going to want to take that. I mean, if you can get a bag of pucks for him, I don't even know if you can get that. Like, I don't think people are calling. I think that's why you can't separate it. And you're right. We've long said that there are 3 players that are untradeable and the rest technically could be up for grabs, but I just don't see Bill Guerin wanting to tear everything down. I think he wants to, there is some good in there. It's mediocre. It's Minnesota mediocre at its very best, I think. So I think that's why you don't go the St. Louis route. Plus, St. Louis has a cup, right? What do they care? They can just go rebuild and try again another time. They already at least have that. Minnesota just is content. They're content. That's the best way to put it. It's like that boyfriend that is nice. And it's like, oh, I mean, I could break up with them, but I'm content. So I'll stick with it. It's fine. I mean, it's a losing strategy in the end because you're going to be miserable. You're going to see the hot guy with the cup later on down the road, but you're like, but I'm content.
So why not change it?
Because you don't.
That's what I don't understand. It's like everyone with the Wild, they're always content with the first round exit. It's like, oh, we're going to kind of keep enough pieces and then maybe we'll get to the playoffs and then we're going to get knocked out. So it's like, why not change it up? Why not blow it up? Blow the dam up. Come on.
I have so many mixed thoughts right now. For selfish reasons, I want to make the playoffs because that's more work for me and more money. Love to see Minnesota. It gives us something else to do. It gives us something to cheer about until they're knocked out. But I really see them stuck in the same position for the rest of their time that they're spending in cap hell purgatory. So I see arguments to blow it up in a way, but also, I don't know. I'm torn. I'm very split.
Yeah. You all right, Fred. You right. No, that's just not what we do in Minnesota. We're passive aggressive.
That's not what you do,
vanilla.
And you never get championships.
Yeah.
I just want one.
I know. Moment of silence.
It's like a 1,000,000-yard stare you just got there.
Just imagining what it would be like prancing through the field with the Stanley Cup. It's a beautiful image. You're not going to get there with John Merrill and Alex Goligoski playing. I will tell you that.
It had
guys.
to be said.
It had to be said. Which brings me up to my next point, the Kalen Addison debate. So from what I'm seeing, and because this is all happening during the homestand, we're getting a little extra peek behind the curtain for you guys, right? We spoke with Addison on his healthy scratch after the first one, I think, maybe the second one. He's now been healthy scratched 3 games. Again, you're listening to this on a Monday, recorded on a Sunday. So 3 straight games he has been scratched as of now. Dean Evason told reporters during morning skate it was because they wanted Addison to play better defensively, which is probably fair. Addison's strength is his offensive prowess, and his strength is the power play. Hands down, best power play quarterback that you have on the team. You don't want Goose on there. Minus today, it actually worked. Goose being on the point of that power play. Anyway, but Kalen Addison seemed to have a different opinion. Obviously, he was not happy with this decision to be a healthy scratch again after that first game even, but he made it sound like the coaching staff gave him like a different parting words, a different message than not playing defensively. But personally, me, Kirsten, I would rather have a young defenseman out there struggling than an old defenseman out there struggling. Again, love Alex Goligoski as a human, love John Merrill as a human. They both deserve to be riding pine, I think, over Kalen Addison.
I agree 100%. And I was just going to bring that up. So I'm happy you did. Why is Kalen Addison sitting up in the press box? Meanwhile, respectfully, you have John Merrill out on the ice, allowing goals scored while he's out there, quite honestly being the worst defenseman on the team consistently. Why has he not been up in the press box, taking a seat for a game or two? I mean, Goligoski, I get it. He's been kind of in and out of the lineup, but why is John Merrill still exactly where he is?
I have no answer. I mean, maybe because of his hair?
Once I found out he was from Oklahoma, like it explained everything I needed to know.
I mean, it makes, you're right, no sense. And that was Addison's knock too, is he was like minus 34 or something like that, right? So he's certainly been out there, but I think, why are you stymieing these young players from working through the mistakes and yet letting, the old man ride off into, I feel bad. I shouldn't say like Alex Goligoski is like literally my age, maybe like a year or two older. So, but like, you're letting him have his sunset moment. And it doesn't make sense to me because they're not playing better because Kalen Addison isn't in the lineup. They're playing better because their goaltender, which we will get to, their number 1 goaltender, Philip Gustafson, is there. That's why they're playing better. It's not Alex Goligoski changing tides. Do you think that this is something Dean continues to do? Because now, again, it's easy to make the correlation that, Alex Goligoski is playing well or the team's winning, so we're just going to keep our lineup the same because we know Dean Evason loves to do that. So is Addison going to be on the tough end of this while the Wild continue to try to get this upswing going?
Based on what we've seen this season, I'm going to say yes. And another point that I want to make quickly before we kind of switch gears, it's not like Kalen Addison hasn't been contributing anything to the team. Like he was scoring goals. He was being an offensive player. Granted, yes, he's paid to be a defenseman, but he was still contributing in a handful of important ways. Meanwhile, like again, John Merrill, truly, what is he contributing? I'm sorry. Like I'm coming for him. I'm probably going to be his public enemy number 1 after listening to this. I apologize. And we've talked about how we've loved the aggression, or not, maybe aggression's not the right word, but kind of just how Dean Evason's not afraid to make you sit for a couple of games. But I don't agree with some of the situations, such as Kalen Addison, that he has done this season.
Does it feel like Dean has an MO on players that he healthy scratches or sits? It feels like he targets younger players, like he did it to Kevin Fiala last year. I mean, if you recall back to Kevin Fiala basically apologizing to Dean on the bench during that one game when he was sat a few shifts. It feels like he picks younger players to do this with and not the older vets.
Mm-hmm. I think he does, absolutely. And I think we've discussed that before too. It's like he'd rather sit the young guy and let the old guy play because he likes that veteran experience. He likes the veteran way of thinking. He likes the old school hockey. Dean likes hockey that he played, like he likes the gritty, grinding players that he was. And I think to him, that's what he'd rather see. I think that's maybe why Marco Rossi didn't get the fair shot that he wants, because, you know, these elite skilled players, I don't know. I don't want to say Dean dislikes them. He just doesn't understand them. That's not the way that he played. And I don't know if he places the same value on it as much as probably he should, right? Because again, the game has changed so dramatically. It's so much quicker. And yes, two-way hockey is important, but it's not nearly as important, I don't think, as it used to be, frankly, because the way that guys can move down the ice and the way that guys can jumpstart an offense is everything in the game today. So, I mean, I think that point, Fred, is well taken. And I think it's well pointed out too. I mean, it's very obvious that Dean does have a favoritism toward the vets versus maybe some of the younger guys.
And I'm going to go rogue here and bring this up, but the Wild are getting a lot younger. Do we think Dean Evason is going to be the answer and have success with coaching these young guys on the bench?
I mean, the irony with that, though, is like, that's what made him a great AHL coach, right? Is because he was developing these guys, developing guys like his buddy, Freddie Gaudreau. So, I mean, it's very curious to see what happens. I'd be lying to say if I didn't think Dean's seat was probably getting a little warm at this point in the year, just kind of where things have shaken out, where they're at with him, you know, all of that. I just think that maybe it's not terrible to look around and try think of something new. Bruce Boudreau's available.
I knew that was going to get brought up. I knew you were going to say that. Do you think Bruce even wants to at this point, after maybe the dust does need to settle more for him, but
he loves that role so much, no matter how mean it is to him, he loves it. So what are you going to do? I'm going to talk about the gentleman that I was mean to at the beginning of the year. People won't let me forget, so that's why I have to keep reminding myself. Philip Gustafson, you guys. I almost asked Dean this post game too, but I didn't really want to set him off yet. I was going to wait till they leave town so he forgets about it. But Philip Gustafson has to be your number one goalie. I know Dean, for whatever reason, doesn't like to name it, but every team has a number one. And yes, it's great to have a tandem. Marc-Andre Fleury's lost a step. We were getting vintage Fleury for a while there, and the past few games were bad. They were not great. Again, it doesn't all hang on him. There was bad offense, bad defense in between there as well, but some of those goals are goals that Fleury needs to save. On the flip side, Gustafson has been everything. He has done everything the team has asked him to do, and some, winning in shootouts, getting the teams into overtime. This was his first regulation win in quite some time here on Sunday. I want to call it, it's his net. It's his net until he makes me want to yank him and my hair out. You know, like it's Gus's net.
I agree 100%. I don't know. I think it just, when it comes to Fleury, it's hard to imagine them, let's say, again, they get to that postseason because of his resume, them not giving him that opportunity, regardless of how good Gus has done this season. But I just don't see how you can't do that, because when Fleury's bad, he's been really bad this year, especially recently. And I think once you get in a goalie's head too, just being pulled from games, sitting, and just the season he's had as a whole, I think it's definitely, not only if he's going through something like just, you know, aging out as a goaltender, but mentally, I can't even imagine at this point kind of what's going through his mind.
I mean, I see him on the bench with Gus, and he's so supportive. Again, Marc-Andre Fleury's one of the greatest human beings, and this would take nothing away from the resume and accomplishments that he already has. This doesn't change the fact that he's going to be a future Hall of Famer. It doesn't change any of that. It's just, it's been a rough go, and not to say that other players aren't to blame for some of those struggles, but yeah, like the soft goal, you can't be letting that, especially at this juncture of the year where Minnesota needs 2 points almost every night from here on out just to confirm their positioning and get closer in the central standing. So you need a goaltender back there that can make the saves again, especially when you're only in 1-goal games, 2-goal games, whatever it might be. And right now, I think all the faith is loaded up on the bus, and you know what? I'm ready to take that bus. The only stops that bus makes is on shooters and pucks. So get on board. That was not as good aboard as it was in my head.
Choo choo. That's a train, but
I always want to say choo choo because they say all aboard on trains as well. So that makes sense.
I can't like sit there and go honk honk. That sounds like a goose.
That was really good.
I
thought that was a soundboard.
No, I know. I'm really good at like the mouth trumpet stuff. Or like toots. Like that stuff.
Oh.
I know. It's a secret talent.
Oh.
Okay.
Stop the pod.
I felt like he was going to say something important because he unmuted himself and then he's just making trumpet horn noises
with his mouth. Come Here Fred's Fart Noises live, however, this Thursday at Kelly's Tap House in Red Wing. We'll make sure that he gives you his exclusive toot toots, whatever that might look like, while Kirsten and I rattle on about how terrible our third pairing is defensively, and maybe some good sprinkled in there as well. Don't apologize, Kirsten. You stand strong in your convictions. I know you're nervous to take on this battle, but trust me, there are plenty more. It's just going to come back to me.
It's going to come back to me, or like he's going to hear me. I mean, I don't know. I was going to say I'd say it to his face. I don't know how I could. I can't skate, but I'm sorry. I'm just objectively talking. I shouldn't apologize, but I am.
Again, good people. This is just
it's just business.
It's a business.
Women talking business.
Yeah. Women in business. Speaking of business, Sammy Walker joins us as he's taking care of business down in Iowa, waiting for his turn to come up to St. Paul and make an impact. So we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, Sammy Walker. Joining us now, one of Edina's finest. We won't be too harsh on the cake eater front. A former Gopher as well as current Iowa Wild, Minnesota Wild member and piano player potentially. We've got Sammy Walker with us, ladies and gents. Sammy, what's going on, bud?
Not a whole lot. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining us. Let's dive right into it. Shout out to your communications team in Iowa who slipped us this little note. You are learning piano. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, I'm not very good. I'm in the beginner stage, but yeah, I'm trying to learn and get better.
And I've heard that the piano teacher doesn't quite understand maybe why you don't have the dedication and commitment it would take to be a real classical pianist, if you will.
Yeah, I stopped taking the lessons like in person just because it's hard. We're on the road and stuff. Yeah, so maybe YouTube or something I'll pick up and try to learn.
Did you did you tell your teacher like I'm working or I have hockey? Like, did he just kind of completely like, well, what do you mean you have to practice? Like, well, I'm following this other path of mine that I'm also dedicated and committed to called hockey.
Yeah, well, it'd be hard because like we would have lessons on like once a week, say like Tuesday, and then we leave Thursday till Sunday, on the road, and then I get like a day and a half to practice, and then I'm not very good when I come back on Tuesday to lesson again. And he's like, well, all right, just try to like get this down. I don't know, he thought like all week I like couldn't figure it out. But no, I never really like told him what I did and why I was kind of always busy. But yeah, I had to stop the lessons.
He perceived you to be just a lazy person that just didn't care, basically.
Exactly.
This is going to be a two-part question, but what's a song that you are hoping you'll be able to learn to play on piano? And also, we were informed you also dabble in guitar a little bit. What's a song you can play on guitar?
Yeah, I would say piano. I started learning Piano Man. I know kind of the intro a little bit, but I want to get that down. Just kind of all the popular songs that everyone can sing along to. But yeah, no, I'm better at guitar. I love country music. I like playing, I don't know, Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs. But I think my favorite song to play is 5 O'Clock Somewhere.
Nice.
I really like to play that one.
So you've got all the bar songs then, it really sounds like, right? The ones that everyone's grabbing a beer, sitting around a fire and just singing to.
Campfire. Yeah, you need the ones that everyone can sing along so they don't notice how bad of a singer I am.
So that you're musically inclined on the instruments, just not necessarily on the vocal skills.
No, yeah. I'm not like horrible, but if everyone else can sing along, that'd be ideal.
Just drown you out.
So they're not focused on me.
So are you saying there is or isn't a chance we'd see you on a karaoke night?
Oh no, I would never get up there. I think I'd be too nervous.
Can play in front of 20,000 fans, but cannot do karaoke.
Yeah, no. Can't do that.
Well, hockey fans are familiar with the skills that your hands do carry on the ice. How's that for a segue, guys? You like that? That was smooth. Talk about how this year has been. I know they got to catch glimpses of you. You get your first career goal. You get to suit up here in St. Paul, which was a thrill as an Edina native. But how have things been going in Iowa now as well?
Yeah, no, it's been super fun. The guys are awesome, which just makes it so much more fun to go and play. And no, it's been a blast so far for sure.
How closely do you pay attention? I mean, again, you're a Wild fan, I'm sure, growing up here in Minnesota. But now that you're within the organization, obviously your focus remains on Iowa, helping Iowa succeed. But how closely do you still pay attention to Minnesota? Especially, I'm not sure if you hear the clamor that goes on up here in the Twin Cities about recall Sammy Walker, recall Adam Beckman, those types of things. Do you hear any of that, or do you really try very hard to tune it out and not pay too much attention to any ups and downs the Wild might be having that could lead to your recall up to St. Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely like watching the Wild and seeing how they're doing and keeping updated and stuff. But I don't know. I try to just focus on what I'm doing down here and try to just make an impact down here. And then if I do get the call up, then I'm gonna try my best to help them win. So just kind of, I don't know, focus on the now, I guess.
And your play has been giving Wild fans a lot to be excited about. So that probably leads in to the chatter Jessi was talking about. But most recently, you also were named to the AHL All-Star game. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was incredible. It was so fun, just like meeting all the guys from throughout the league, especially being able to go to Laval and just experience all that. It was incredible. It was a lot of fun.
Were your hands incredibly sweaty? I hear that that's also a tick of yours when you get nervous. Talk about that. Regale us all with that story.
Yeah, I think I'm regretting saying anything about that. But yeah, no, my hands get really sweaty for some reason. And then like, I don't know, guys are like wanting to like you shake guys' hands and like when you meet them and then your hands are all sweaty and you kind of have to like wipe it off before you shake their hands. But no, my feet I think get more sweaty actually. But yeah, no, it's very unfortunate.
Your poor mom. I feel more sorry for your mom almost than when you were growing up having to deal with all the extra sweatiness and the gloves and the skates and the socks, I imagine.
Oh, I couldn't, yeah. Because like you get kind of used to it, like because you're putting it on every day. But yeah, no, she for sure never got used to it. Definitely stunk up the house. And when you're traveling in the hotel room, you're airing your gear out. Oh, I couldn't even imagine.
Did you have to give the equipment guys in Iowa or even at the U or anywhere an extra heads up, like, hey, take extra care of these? There might be a little extra moisture.
No, like my gloves I wash a lot. And they say my gear actually isn't too bad. So there are guys that are worse than me. But yeah, I try to keep them clean.
Sammy's gonna regret coming on the podcast. I just feel like he's being put through the ringer right now.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll just call this Media 101, Sammy. We're just helping you along. You're doing fantastic.
Hey, you guys make it seem like my hands are dripping with sweat. Like they're not that bad.
I'm gonna say that's all Jessi right there. It's not me. It's not me. It's all Jessi. But keeping up with the spirit of talking of your younger self and whatnot, we hear you used to be a little bit of a daredevil. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, I would say my mom for sure thinks that I was more of a daredevil. I don't know. I like to just like have fun with things. I don't know, like riding the bike and standing on the seat, or I don't even know, going full speed down a hill on my bike, like just doing fun stuff like that maybe she was a little scared that I was doing.
What's the thing that you did that probably gave her the biggest scare?
Well, I was flying down a hill one time and fell off my bike, got pretty hurt, so she was a little scared and wanted me to stop doing that. But yeah, no, I would always I don't know, I was always just doing crazy stuff like that, I guess.
Just being a wild boy, to say the least. How many broken bones, stitches, all of that then have you accumulated?
Yeah, I've got a few stitches. I think I broke my wrist once, but that was in hockey. Yeah, I never got seriously hurt doing stunts or whatever, but it was definitely a couple close calls.
Well, speaking of hockey, obviously Minnesota Wild fan base excited that you chose to sign with the Minnesota Wild despite being drafted by Tampa Bay. What was your thought process in that? I mean, obviously hometown always has that romance about it, but what made you really want to explore the Minnesota Wild and sign with them instead of Tampa Bay?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think growing up in Minnesota, it's like you're going to the games all the time and you're a huge fan, obviously, and just to be able to have that opportunity, I think he had to take it. And it's been incredible, and I'm very happy with my decision for sure.
And I mean, you've been Minnesota through and through, Edina, the Gophers, Wild. I mean, just being able to stick around in the state of hockey, what has that meant to you?
Yeah, a couple of my buddies joked like, man, we're never going to get rid of you, but it's been awesome. Like, especially like for my family, just to being close and them being able to come and to the games and stuff. It's and your buddies and everything. So it's been incredible. It's been a lot of fun.
Let's put it on like the scale. What has more energy? Edina's fan base at the state hockey tournament, a Gopher versus Badger game, maybe, or Gopher versus, I don't even know, Michigan, or a Minnesota Wild versus Winnipeg game. What's the craziest?
Yeah, I would definitely say the Wild. I mean, just playing like, especially at home, and the first home game in the NHL that was so amazing. In high school, I mean, you got your parents and everyone else is kind of rooting against you. But the Gophers have a great atmosphere, but I would definitely say, playing in NHL, that was so special.
I love that you said high school, everyone rooting against you, alluding to Edina. We're gonna be nice. We're gonna be nice to Edina here. What's something you would say to sell people just on the city of Edina?
I don't know. It's a nice city. I think once you get to know us, we're not that bad. But yeah, no, I don't know, Edina gets a bad rap, I guess.
A bad rap because they're the best city in the state.
Yeah.
One of those type of things, right?
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I'll apologize. We went hard on Edina for like 2 episodes straight, so that's why you're getting the kind version. We're all cake eatered out on that respect. Kind of going back to the Gophers and the Minnesota Wild, obviously another Gopher looking to make his way into the organization with Brock Faber. He's got a very similar resume to what you have accomplished. What advice would you have for Brock? Do you keep in touch with Brock? Have you reached out? Do you guys chit chat any at all? What's that relationship like, if there is any?
Yeah, no, he's one of my best friends. Most of our communication though is sending memes back and forth, I think. But no, I'm excited for him to start his career here. And he's a great player and he's gonna do amazing. But no, he's one of my favorite people and I'm excited for him to get started.
Do you think when you are Minnesotan, because I know Bill Guerin has talked about this, when he, being a Massachusetts native, went to Boston, he felt a little bit extra pressure. Obviously, when Nick Bukestad first came here, all the Minnesotans that have come through, is there extra pressure when you are a native son of our land here in the state of hockey and suiting up for the Minnesota Wild? Or is it just because there's extra family and friends that know you and are around begging for those tickets, I am sure? Is there any kind of difference there, do you think, when, you're born and bred here and the fans have known you since you were a kid?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's just more eyes are on you, just because more people know you, I guess. and so you kind of feel that you have to, produce and succeed. But I mean, that's the fun part. I don't know. It's more exciting, definitely, just because all your friends and your family are able to come. So yeah, that makes it more special for sure.
Are you ponying up the money for those tickets, or your agents? How are you working that out? Because I can't imagine that's cheap.
Well, it was kind of nice. All my buddies, like, as soon as I got the call, they're like, "I already bought tickets." Like, they're so excited that I didn't have to get that many, which was nice.
I can imagine.
Also taking a look too, I mean, you come from a well-rounded athletic family, and your older brothers having played. So growing up too, having that kind of support, how did that help you not only become a better person but player as well?
Yeah, no, I think growing up, like, nothing was ever given. My brothers never made it easy to win, so it kind of developed my competitive edge, I guess. But no, it was super fun. And I loved having, like, the big family and growing up in that, and having two older brothers that I can look up to, and see their path and kind of what they went through in their career, and just kind of learn from. And if I have any questions, obviously I can ask them anything. So, which is nice.
So when you were playing with them, did they force you to be in net as goalie and just take shots on you, or were they a little nicer to you than that?
I don't know. I got that sometimes. I don't know. I would just never win. Like, so that was, I don't know. And that would always eat at me. So I always wanted to get better and beat them. And then when I would beat them, then I'd get beat up or something. So.
But how good does the chirp feel now that you're playing professional hockey here? I mean, it's got to be pretty money.
Yeah, no, it's been fun so far for sure.
Awesome. Well, I know you have a meeting with the team coming up here in just a couple minutes, so we will let you go. But Sammy, thank you so much for taking the time. Best of luck the rest of the season, whether that be in Des Moines, St. Paul, a little bit of both. We look forward to watching your career play out here.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back. We're back. Shout out to Sammy for joining us. Gonna have to have him teach me some sort of musical talent so we can start a band, the three of us, when Bardown Beauties doesn't work out anymore. Fred's got the mouth horn going. Kirsten and I can pick up some slack. However,
I call dibs on the triangle.
I played the trumpet back in the day as well. You can do the triangle.
Play the trumpet.
I did. Yeah, little spit valve. Terrible. Yeah, I was in jazz band. It was a good time.
I used to play the violin.
You play the violin?
I used to.
What an odd band. Trumpet, violin, and Sammy Walker on the guitar.
And I play a mean recorder as well. A little hot cross buns. Let's go. Yeah, we'll get Sammy in on the band as well. Thank you to Alex Lesnar and Ben Jillison down in Iowa for helping connect us with Sammy. Before we wrap up this week's episode, you guys, so the plan was that Sammy Walker was going to be recalled, but he didn't get that. It was Adam Beckman, which has been good. It's been a good shift. I like the opportunity he's been given with Matt Boldy and Joel Eriksson-Ek. I think it's got a lot of potential. It's not bad. That's sure as hell, right? It's not bad. So the up for debate was asking, who would you recall? It was between Beckman, Walker, and Rossi. Obviously, they did Beckman, excuse me. But do you think they should be looking at making more recalls, Kirsten, at this point in the year? Like, I personally wouldn't have been mad if they called up 2 forwards instead of just 1 at that point in time when they were on that egregious losing streak. But I mean, you only want to shake the boat up so much, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I still am tiptoeing that line where the Wild are in the playoffs and they're not in the playoffs. The second that they're not, I'm like, blow it up, bring up the younger guys, have some guys sit. And then when they're in the playoffs, I'm like, okay, let's just keep riding this. Like, let's keep seeing if what we have is working. At the very moment, it is. But personally, I really would have liked to see Sammy Walker get that call up. I think he's earned it. Not saying Adam Beckman hasn't, but I mean, why not both? Why not both of them?
I know. I again, going back to what we talked about in the first segment, right? Like, I think you got to get used to the youthful front a little bit. And granted, I think my worry is that like an Adam Beckman, for instance, is a career AHLer, right? And it's kind of what I've even said about maybe Marco Rossi. I don't know. I don't like saying these things, you guys.
Hot take alert.
I don't like saying, but I don't know, because you never get the opportunity to see him except for like a hot minute, and then you're forcing them to. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I'm at right now either with like, do I want Sammy Walker to be called up in addition to Beckman, or do I want them to swap? I just don't
Well, it's going to be hard. Let's take into consideration, what are we going to do when Foligno comes back? Because right now, with him out, it's easy to recall somebody and bring someone up, especially when you're sitting Sam Steele.
Yeah, Sam Steele's the easy out there.
Yes.
Put him on waivers.
Wouldn't be the first time this season we've seen that.
Again, not being mean, just calling it like it is. Boss babes over here, like, put him on waivers. Like, it's
the turning of the tide. This is Jessi's coming of age story. The start of the season, you were so high on Sam Steele, like literally like kissing the ground he walked on pretty much. Now you're like, put him on waivers. No,
get out of here.
Were very excited.
Find the receipts. I don't think I was.
I will.
Walking. No, I was not down on him. I saw potential. That potential apparently was not as great as I had hoped it to be. And you know what? He did fine for a little bit too. But right now, I mean, if you're not playing, put him on waivers and figure that out and let somebody else step in there.
I mean, I do think he has just lost his spot. I don't know how much longer we'll be seeing of him, but it's tough to say. But yeah, I say bring up the young guys, but I just don't know what domino falls after that when Foligno comes back.
Would you ever scratch Foligno?
He is my favorite player on the Wild, so it's very hard for me to say. I'm gonna say no, I wouldn't, and maybe that's a lot of bias, but I will also say there have been games where he has definitely made a case to be sitting out for a game.
Love Marcus Foligno. I'd sit him 100%.
Sorry, Moose.
Little son,
You're
sorry.
still my favorite player.
I'd sit him. I'd sit Jordan Greenway. There are plenty of players that I would sit. I think, and that has nothing to do with their lack of production. They're just not bringing a whole lot of anything as of late. And I think we're going to be without Foligno probably a little bit longer after he blocked that shot with his knee than was expected. But like, Greenway hasn't been doing a whole lot for me. They had a decent game on Sunday, but yeah, and I never thought I'd say that, right? That you would sit a Marcus Foligno, because again, he's such high energy. He's fantastic, but it's also like, if you're playing this game of, if you're not playing well, you sit, then Foligno and Greenway deserve to take a seat in that rotation.
But at the same time, what about Ryan Reaves? He really hasn't done too much either. And he was brought in to bring that swagger, the Riz, as the kids are calling it these days. But Marcus Foligno also can fill that presence, maybe not in the exact same way.
Oh, so you want to trade? You want Reaves to sit instead of Foligno? Is that you're prosing a trade?
Yes, I am.
But Addison, that guy, he should be set.
F that guy. Man. No, not actually, but it seems that's the attitude around the locker room lately. But bold of him to kind of speak out against the coach's decision.
It was necessarily, but
I don't think it was necessarily what he meant to do. But I liked that.
I'm sure he assumed that Dean said it that way, and he was like, "Oh, is that not what he said?" Like, it wasn't a twisting of words, I don't think, by any means, by our media colleagues. But no, it's no Rem Pitlick one time like went off on that. So, and you saw
that is why Rem
what happened to him
no longer here.
Is why Rem Pitlick is
the
gone.
Ghost of Rem Pitlick.
Well, I want to know what you guys think. Would you sit any other players, whether, again, you want to keep with Addison and Steele out of the lineup? Would you move on to bigger name guys that have been underperforming so far this season? Let us know your thoughts in the comments or on our social media channels. As always, follow us on our social media channels. Be sure to come out and say hi to us at Kelly's Tap House in Red Wing, courtesy of sponsors Grain Belt. Speaking of sponsors, shout out to Talk North for featuring us on their network, along with our buddies over at SotaStick. Don't forget, you can get 15% off all purchases with code Bardown Beauties. If you got some Bardown Beauty swag, I want to see it. Send us your photos. We're waiting to get ours still, so hopefully you have something to share with us. Look forward to seeing you all smiling in those. Shout out to Royal Credit Union, less fee, more free, and to Jim Beam. Cheers to you, cheers to me. Don't forget, you can get a nice glass of Jim Beam at all Minnesota Wild home games. As always, you guys rock. You're awesome. Thank you. Shout out to the fans that came up and said hi to Kirsten and I today at the game. That was very fun and exciting, and always love talking and interacting with you guys. I thought you were going to say something, Kirsten.
I didn't know if you were just going to keep rolling with it, but yes, retweet. Like it's awesome getting to engage with you guys when you come out. We love it. So keep doing it. We love to see you guys. Love to meet you guys.
Retweet. I'm gonna have to remember that one. Like that's good.
Retweet. Like you said it all. Like there's nothing else for me to add. I'll just reiterate it, or I could just be like retweet.
Absolutely. Again, you guys all rock. Appreciate every single one of you. I will be emceeing the girls Miss Hockey Award ceremony coming up this Sunday. So shout out to all the girls high school teams who are wrapping up their season and all the ladies that are up for that award. We will be back probably next week with our Let's Play Hockey High School Hockey Report, but be sure to check out them for the standings on both girls and boys as we are inching closer and closer to that tourney time here, already here for the girls. So that'll do it. Episode 164. Bye.